Welcome back to Psychology of Peacebuilding. I had alerted you that I will be returning to some of our PowerPoints and material because I will have a different perspective and I will apply the different models to different psychology of peacebuilding, and that's what I'm going to do today with the Johari window. You remember that I introduced the Johari window to you a few weeks ago and talked about critical self-awareness and disclosure. This week, I want to focus on trust building. So here is the model. And these next few weeks, I will be reviewing material to help you digest. Repetition helps us. I hope you're reading and doing the activities as well as listening to me. Keeping your journal, trying to apply these theories and techniques to your own personal conflict. That is my priority with this Psychology of Peacebuilding introductory class. Though next week I will be going to the more complicated systems level, just to give you a little intro to what you might do if you're in a toxic system. But for this week, let's imagine that you are in a relationship with your mother. I'm picking relationships that former students have used for their conflict analysis and for their papers. Your mother, your roommate, your boyfriend, your friend. I've had your father, your brother, your sister. You can imagine students pick all sorts of relationships. But the ones that matter the most are the closest, most loving relationships we have. And they can be the toughest because we're all unique. Even if we've been raised with a similar culture, there's so much room for misunderstanding, misinformation, right? That's our lingo today. And one of the challenges we face when we're trying to do any kind of peace-building conflict resolution is how do we rebuild trust if it's been broken, if someone feels that we've betrayed or abandoned or hurt them in some way, or how do we deepen our trust? I had a student a year ago from Mexico who had shared with her mother that she was gay, and her mother, in the Mexican culture, many of you are going to appreciate this, was in a great deal of shock, disbelief. She didn't want to accept that her beloved daughter saw herself and experienced herself as gay. So my student spent the whole semester studying the theories and techniques in order to approach her mother and try to rebuild trust. And after building trust, to build deeper understanding and acceptance. A tough challenge, as most of you can imagine. But she did an excellent job in this class, and I'm hopeful that her relationship with her mother is healing and repairing. What we need to do, using the Johari window, let me reintroduce the various windows. When it's our public self, the open box, when we're aware and the other is aware, that's not really an issue, right? But when something is not known to others, it's hidden, and we decide to share it like my student did, then rebuilding trust often involves the blind and the unknown boxes. And here's a couple of things that I recommend from a lifetime of peace building. First of all, and this goes against all the public relations and advertising lingo, we must walk our talk. We must become increasingly conscious of how others perceive us, so our blind self, and become sometimes our unknown self, and become increasingly conscious, doing reflective practice regularly, asking, am I truly living my values? because glib advertising, attempting to manipulate people, it just doesn't work when it comes to trust. We all know this from broken relationships and, former boyfriends and girlfriends. You can't say one thing, like take marriage vows and say you're faithful through thick and thin, through good and bad, and then betray those vows without shattering trust. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit in a couple of weeks about restorative justice and repairing the harm we've done. That's certainly something we can do if we find ourselves not living our values. But let's not complicate this today. For the purpose of building trust and peace, we must be trustworthy people. We can't play games. And now, academic literature, when I introduce to you games theory in a couple of weeks, talks about insincere gamesmanship. Peace building in life, they're not games. I love games, right? I love having fun and competing, healthy competition. No problem if it's a true game. But if it's a relationship, if it's a beloved relationship with someone who you need their trust, to maintain that relationship, you can't practice insincere gamesmanship. You can't, pull the rug out from that person and hurt them without shattering trust. So learning, first of all, I'll be asking you in this course, what are your top values? Most of my students' family is one of their top values. Some of my students' faith is their top value. Whatever that top value is, you must be consciously practicing it and showing the world that you're intent on being trustworthy. Now, that doesn't mean you need to be superhuman or a perfect human being. We all make mistakes. We all have days where we're off, right? But if you can distinguish yourself from the majority of human beings by walking your talk, higher moral ground, as Michelle Obama describes, then you are more likely to be able to build trust, as I've been able to build trust with many different people around the world. The other thing that's going to happen is that with trust building, people are going to be disclosing more of their hidden self. And that's going to help with peace building and conflict resolution. Now, Carl Rogers was a psychologist, a humanist psychologist. Of course, he was human, yes, but a humanist who put human beings front and center of his psychology in California a generation ago. And he talks about this in slightly different terms, but they work beautifully with Johari's window. First of all, he said, if you want to facilitate maximum optimal human growth, you must be a genuine, authentic human being. You can't put on a facade, appear to be one way and do other things behind closed doors, right? You got to be you, as Hollywood says, and as some musicians say, you've got to be yourself, real. That will help, obviously, build your human relationships. Congruence is what he called walking your talk. So your inner world matches your outer world. And that's a lifelong journey, right? And then the other thing he promoted was unconditional regard for human beings. That's a flip side of reframing, of suspending judgment. We open our minds, we see the best of humanity, of human beings, and we lift them up. Now, obviously, this is different than popular culture, right? The society we live in. But that's its beauty. That's how we have the power to build peace. So good luck with doing this in your life this week.